Emrs PGT English Tier-2 exam. In that we are discussing English literature. Let's begin our journey through the world of literature, a journey that takes us from the grand theatres of Shakespeare, England, through the emotional heights of romantic poetry and into the deep reflections of modern writers of 19th and 20th centuries. William Shakespeare, 1564-1616. When we talk about English literature, the first name that echoes through the centuries is William Shakespeare. The immortal bard of Avon, born in 1564, Shakespeare lived during the Elizabethan and Renaissance period. Of course, you know that well. An age filled with artistic brilliance, intellectual awakening and human discovery. Shakespeare was not just a playwright, he was a keen observer of human nature. Through his works, he captured every emotion, love, jealous, power, ambition, loyalty, betrayal, everything that defines humanity. He wrote across four major genres: tragedy, comedy, history and romance. We'll discuss now all these four genres. Of course, you know that why it has been given that major role. In his tragedies such as Hamlet, Macbeth, Othello, King Lear and Julius Caesar, we see fall of all great men, destroyed by ambition, a god of fate. In Macbeth, he shows how unchecked ambition can lead to self-destruction. In Othello also we can find that jealous becomes the villain, and the kingly pride and blindness of the truth cause unbearable suffering. Then came his delightful comedies, A Midsummer Night's Dream, As You Like It, Twelfth Night and The Merchant of Venice. These plays sparkle with wit, humor, romance and mistaken identities. They end happily, often with love and marriage, reflecting the joy and optimism of life. And his histories play, the third one we are discussing, that his histories plays like Henry Ford, Richard III and Henry V bring England fast to life. The struggles for the throne, the courage of kings and the spirit of the nation. In his later years, Shakespeare turned to all these things, but when we discussed about his fast of life, the struggles for the throne and to chase that, to deviate that, to conquer that courage of the kings must be discussed about everything. In his later years, Shakespeare turned to romance such as the romances such as The Tempest, Cymbeline and The Winter's Tale. These plays blend music, forgiveness and the reconciliation, showing the maturity of his vision and so far understanding of life mysteries. Across all his works, Shakespeare explored deep themes. The themes also very important, because of the themes only the units and become the chapters of plays have been given. That was the reason we must discuss about the themes of Shakespeare. Mainly we discuss about the power and ambition, love and betrayal. Regarding these only all will be shown, and some of the courses we can find that fate versus free will, human psychology and political corruption. Right? Once you can think that power and ambition, love and betrayal. At the same time, fate versus free will, human psychology and political corruption. He was a mirror to the world, and even after 4 centuries, his words still speak to every heart, every generation. Even my prompt thing, if I can decide to say that before Shakespeare, after Shakespeare. Right? The second one we discussed that the romantic period. Of course, after Shakespeare, the romantic period also will be discussed, because I already has written that second form. We have taken that 1798 to 1837. So nearly 39 years. After Shakespeare's age, literature evolved into the romantic period. Beginning around the end of the 18th century, this was a time to change. That industrial revolution had transformed society, and writers began reacting against the cold logic and order of the previous neoclassical age. The Romantics believed in the power of emotion, imagination and nature. They celebrate the individual spirit, the beauty of the natural world and the depth of the personal feeling. At the heart of Romanticism was William Wordsworth, often called the poet of nature. Together with Samuel Taylor Coleridge, he published lyrical ballads in 1798. A collection of, even though it is a collection, that it became the manifesto of the Romanticism. Romanticism was appeared in that lyrical ballad only. Wordsworth believed poetry should be the spontaneous overflow, isn't it? Wordsworth believed poetry should be the spontaneous overflow of powerful feelings. His poems like Tinton Abbey, The Solitary Reaper, and Daffodils, of course, daffodils, the beautiful yellow flowers they discussed about, right? Daffodils reflect peace, simplicity, and the deep bond between man and nature. How the nature was connected to the human being, how our happy connected with our heart to nature, everything was disclosed by that writer, William Wordsworth. It's really great to see him in every moment, right? So everything it will be discussed, the simplicity and deep bond about reflection of peace and between man and nature. And the next one is Samuel Taylor. Here before what we have discussed that in his sharing is also there in published lyrical ballads in 1798. A collection of manifesto of romanticism was appeared in lyrical ballads, so which is very important, because often called the poet of nature William Wordsworth and that Samuel Taylor Coleridge, the both are completed that in 1798. That was the reason even romanticism was started with that only in 1798. And after that Coleridge, his close friend, brought imagination and mystery to poetry. He believed in the magic of the supernatural and the power of dreams. His rhyme of the ancient mariner is a haunting tale of sin, punishment, and redemption, while Kuba Khan is a dazzling vision of the imagination itself. Next we meet Percy Bysshe Shelley, P.B. Shelley. P.B. Shelley, a true revolutionary and idealist, he believed poetry could inspire, change, transform the world. His ode to the west wind is a cry for freedom, comparing the poet to the wind and that spreads ideas and awakens society into a skylark. He celebrates the purity and the spirit of inspiration. Next, John Keats we discuss. So John Keats, he lived a short life, gave the world some of its most beautiful poetry. He explored the relationship between beauty and morality, showing how art and nature like a Wordsworth, but it was different from him, because it was outlive human life in Ode to Nightingale and Ode to in a Grecian Urn. Keats reveals his